This is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the 11th major release in the series. One that was not only kind of unexpected, but even more of a surprise, just given how good this game is. And let me just say that right off the bat. If you want a quick, honest take on the game, this is really good. This may be the best Assassin's Creed game ever, in fact. Just purely from a game design standpoint. I know how people feel about Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, maybe Brotherhood being their favorites. Even a lot of people really liked Origins, including me. I loved Origins. But purely from a game design standpoint and making something that is kind of epic and incredible and transportive, Odyssey may be the best. In the course of this video, we're going to explore why maybe not, and the room for improvement that is still left to be had in the Assassin's Creed series, and how much of an Assassin's Creed game this really can even be called. So I deliberately decided to start the video on a boat because I knew that was going to draw attention. This has not been really talked about that much. It's in the game. Anyone who has made a review about the game has pointed this out, but ship combat has made its biggest return in the series since Black Flag and Rogue. It is a central mechanic in this game. If you played Origins, there were some story missions that had you on a boat that were really, really good, like even better than what they were in Black Flag or so.
Feel that wind!
Yeah, man, I feel that wind. Do you feel it now, Mr. Krabs? Oh, I feel it now. I do feel it. So this is pretty similar mechanically to how it was set up in Origins. Instead of cannonballs, you have archers and spear throwers. Pretty cool. There's also a really nifty recruitment mechanic going on in this game now, where you actually, it's a lot like Metal Gear Solid 5, which is not a surprise considering the last game borrowed ideas from Metal Gear Solid 5, such as the time of detection window. You know, time slows down and you have a chance to respond when an enemy detects you. That's in this game again, and it's even longer than the previous game in terms of your detection window, which is good because it was kind of useless in the last game. Here it's useful. But back to what I was saying. Another idea from Metal Gear Solid 5, kind of recruiting soldiers. You recruit them for your ship. They're enemies that you just kind of knock out and recruit them. You can assign them different roles. It's kind of wild. This is Barnabas. Barnabas is a character I literally just ran into. And in terms of where I'm at in the game, I'm about 5 hours in, trying to do everything on the prologue island. Which is a lot like, your White Orchard. It's a lot like what Siwa was in Assassin's Creed Origins. Though it takes a little bit longer to get through.
It's beautiful.
It is, my friend. It sure is.
And I get the feeling that I'm going to get dialogue interactions at sea more often than I did in previous Assassin's Creed, which is also good. But just to kind of illustrate what I was just talking about, if you go over here to ship, this is where all of your ship stuff really comes through. So you have your crew, which as you recruit people, it just kind of fills up these slots in terms of how many people you have. And then you also have special lieutenants, which I'm not entirely sure how those work particularly, but once you upgrade your ship more, you can get more lieutenants, and some of these have different buffs. This guy gives us 3% arrow damage, and we can have different lieutenants at play here. All of our ship upgrades will also be done here, which we get from different resources that we can collect on land and, of course, at sea. So it's not just exclusively at sea as it was in Black Flag and Rogue. This game does have a big crafting system at play too, which isn't really used to craft unique items. It's more just used to craft upgrades. So this whole game you're crafting upgrades for your ship and your items. And you do that with supplies that you loot on land as you would in a game like The Witcher 3. So it works out pretty well. There's a lot of depth here, and it's definitely a big improvement over the last game. While I'm here, let me show you the other things in this game. Big improvement over Origins. One of the complaints I had was looting is a nice change. I like it. I like that you can loot weapons and shields, but it was really samey because those are the only things you could loot. You couldn't loot different inventory like items. You couldn't equip any gear, anything like that. This game implements gear, and it makes looting a lot more interesting. A lot more interesting. Because weapons don't really look that different usually when you get new ones. That is a nice sword. Let me equip that. It's a rare sword too. There we go. So more than just weapons now, you get actual gear that you can earn, which is very cool. You can also engrave your armor, which is sort of like adding new stats to it, which you'll be doing pretty often. And you can also, I think at a certain level, you unlock a slot for a secondary weapon, which is really nice to have. Going over here to quests, this is going to remind a lot of people of Witcher 3 just in the way that it's laid out. It's totally understandable. Again, this game draws a lot of Witcher 3 influences, and I don't want to make it sound like The Witcher 3 is the only RPG in the world that anybody can play, but it very understandably has a big influence on this current iteration of games. And look at that. That quest is 2018 meters away. That's the year. 614. How many years ago was that? Someone do the math in the comments. That's gonna be like 1,404 years. Is that right? 1,404, probably something like that. And then the map. I gotta show you the map. This thing's fucking huge. It's freaking massive. Easily the biggest map in the series. I'd wager to say this is bigger than Black Flag. I would wager to say, and in terms of integrated on land sections, bigger, even bigger. A big thing with Black Flag was whenever you loaded into slightly bigger than normal areas, you had to go through a loading screen. That is not the case here. Absolutely everything is seamless, which is a really big technical achievement, especially compared to the last game. And this is the only corner of the world that I've really come across so far. This is your prologue island. This island is pretty big. It spans maybe from tip to tip 2,000 meters, which is pretty big. You know, this was basically Siwa in Assassin's Creed Origins. Put all the landmass together, you maybe get Egypt, but then add an ocean in there, and now it's so much bigger. It's even bigger. The V-Sync is tanking hardcore right now, by the way, as well. Let's do some fun stuff. We're not going to go right for the story, necessarily. Let's just kind of do a little bit of exploring. So we're going to go for this island over here. Another cool thing that this game has, right from the very beginning, you have a choice. Not only between Alexios and Cassandra, which of course are your characters. Oh. Should we be fighting them? We'll come back to those guys later. We'll come back to them. Let's go over here first. So of course you get to choose your character, Alexios or Cassandra. We chose Cassandra for this playthrough. In addition to that, you also get to choose between exploration mode and guided mode. Guided mode, as it is described, is how every other Assassin's Creed game works. You get a quest, you get a marker on the map, you're never lost. This game has exploration mode, which is said to be the intended way to play the game. You do not get objectives for every quest. I guess this is the farthest we can go. You do not get markers for every quest. You only get markers for quests that are in regions or areas of the world that you've already discovered. And if it's in an area or region that you haven't been to yet, you only have contextual environmental clues as to how to get there. Which is really, really cool because it enforces you to engage in the navigational features of the game and the map to get anywhere. And heck, there's even some side quests where you're investigating something that happened and you don't have your Witcher senses necessarily, but you do have, of course, a compass that I've disabled at the top of the screen because it's usually not useful for me. You have to find it that way, and I feel like normally if I was playing in guided mode, that would not be something that I'd have to deal with. But yeah, here we are. The last game had an eagle, you had Senu. Here we got Ikaros, who is not as detailed as Senu for some reason. They had to downgrade the eagle. Still just as useful in discovering environmental items. And the way I described exploration mode might seem like a big, might make the game needlessly difficult for some things, because how am I supposed to find one specific thing in an area? When you get directions from a quest, like go to this part of the island, go west, go here, once you're in that general vicinity, it'll tell you to pull out your eagle and you can find a specific thing you're looking for, which really helps. Let's talk to this guy. Let's do some questing, and we'll get a good look at the dialogue system in this game, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on how I feel about that.
Oh, thank the gods you came.
What happened? Where's the rest of your crew?
Pirates! They killed most of us, but they took my brother. Please, you must help him.
I'll help find your brother, sailor.
I'm not a sailor, I'm a carpenter.
So's my brother. Our father taught us.
Interesting. Our ship could use a carpenter.
I've worked as a shipwright. Repaired hulls with holes the size of Poseidon's fist. Please, save my brother, and I'll join your crew.
Then it's a deal.
Oh.
Where can we find these pirates?
There is an island west of Viotia and south of Mount Helicon. I hear the sail from there.
Anything else that might help?
I don't know. It happened so fast. Because of the war, there's more pirates about than ticks on a sow these days, but their camp can't be far.
We'll find these pirates and rescue your brother.
Excellent. We're gonna go pirate hunting. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. Is it really all the way over there? Jeez, it's kind of far. We'll go there later. We'll probably go there later in the mission, but in the video. But for now, let's stay on this island. So, you got a very brief glimpse at the dialogue system in this game. Again, the best thing I can really compare it to is The Witcher 3, which is a good thing, which is a great thing, because that game probably has one of the best dialogue systems in a modern video game. Largely because it doesn't throw in an absurd amount of choices for every single... Oh, shit! Alright, this is going to be a fun quest. I already got booby trapped. Can I climb up? I can. Nope, just kidding. Can I climb the sides of the walls here? I can. Take that, atheists. Here, come on. Let's go all the way up. All the way up. There we go. Alright, we're going to cheat here. I want my loot. Just like Origins, you can climb any surface. Parkour is just like Origins, but somehow even faster. And not like noticeably, not like obnoxiously faster. Just climbing surfaces, like going from ground to surface is quicker and more seamless, and you cover more distance. Which is good. Small improvements all around. But God, what was I saying? Oh, a dialogue system. And it's good, because Witcher 3 doesn't throw in unnecessary choices into the photo mode here. Let's... I gotta... You guys are getting a really good look at all the features in this game, which is a good thing. But, let's hit a screenshot on that. Let's hit the old F12, even though it's gonna pop up with the Bandicam frame count in the corner. And it's a similar circumstances to this game, just less interesting. The Witcher 3 is almost always interesting from quest to quest. The dialogue interactions in the game are almost never mundane. Here, there's a few times where I was going, okay, this is a little dry. This is just a little bit of a, let's get us from point A to B with a conversation type of thing. Let's dive in. There we go. And that can be kind of frustrating. Though, overall, the choices do add a good bit to the storytelling. You do feel more engaged. You do feel more attached to this character and their opinions and takes on things. But again, if the story being told is not interesting, there's only so much that you can do with a dialogue system like that, you know? Alright, I'm getting First Civilization vibes here. This game is full of secrets, as far as I am aware. Underwater looks better than the last game, controls even better. Pretty fun. The voice acting as well is usually pretty good.
Not of this world.
That is a true statement. Look at that lighting. Look at this great lighting here.
What in Hades was that? Doesn't look like I'll find out through this door just yet. Maybe another time.
I want to see what's in there. Maybe I don't get to see what's in there. Maybe I have to unlock at a certain point. But yeah. The dialogue's usually pretty good, though. Right now, I'm just paying attention to the delivery of some of the lines Cassandra has. And sometimes it's kind of iffy, like really iffy, where it's like, Okay, clearly she had a lot of dialogue to record, a lot of different responses to things, and plus they did this with 2 different voice actors too for all the things. Really ambitious if you think about it. And for the most part it really works, because the characters you're talking to do have specific responses to, say you're playing with Cassandra. If you're playing with Cassandra who did a certain choice in the story, they'll be responding to differently, say you did something else, or if you're playing as Alexios, the other playable character that you can choose from the beginning. That's pretty good stuff. Pretty good loot. Alright, now to figure out how to get out of here. I have no idea, actually. And just like Origins as well, for anyone who's engaging with this game before they're engaging with Origins, which is totally understandable, the side content is, again, pretty good. They got a good approach to things. I swear to God, if this was the way out, I bet it's the way out. Oh yeah, hell yeah, it's the way out. The approach to side content is, again, pretty good. It's, again, like The Witcher 3, where you have map icons and question marks that give you clues on interesting locations, and all these interesting locations have something of use to you, usually loot or money, or of course just XP, which you get for completing locations, i.e. finding everything that they want you to find on these locations. So yeah, overall it works. Look at these waves. I think these waves are the coolest thing ever. Let's go save this pirate guy. This is probably going to involve some combat, or at least some stealth. Then I'll get to show you some of that, because that is also similar to Origins, but even better. That is really if I was to describe this game in one sentence, it's basically Assassin's Creed Origins, but better. Really. Truthfully, really. There we go. The Adrieste. My ship. There's also some other really cool mechanics. There's a mercenary system, which I do want to talk about. I'll show you the menu for that once I load back in here. It's sort of like Shadow of Mordor.
He's a carpenter. Pirates took
Oh, here we
his
go.
land.
We're going to talk about the quest, I
He works
guess.
for us if we rescue him.
Some pirates! Put your backs into it, men! Roll like the Cerberus is snapping at your heels!
Cerberus. So let me show you this mercenary menu here. So it's sort of like Shadow of Mordor meets a mercenary system, like of the last games. So you have, whoops. Whenever you do things in the world that would get you noticed, i.e. you kill important officers or guards, you steal, which you can actually steal items in this game. It's not like Skyrim, it's not like you need a certain skill level or anything like that. You just kind of steal it, and if you don't get noticed, you're fine. If you do get noticed, that raises your notoriety, and of course things will happen in the story to raise your notoriety. When that happens, specific bounty hunters will be sent after you, and they'll be actively tracking you throughout the world. Now I'm playing on hardest difficulty right now. I'm playing on Nightmare difficulty, so avoiding these bounty hunters was absolutely crucial to my survival, because every time they showed up, they would just get in the middle of a fight and kill me like instantly with 1 or 2 hits. I mean, a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were over-leveling me, which is something I do want to talk about as well. But all these mercenaries are unique characters. In fact, when you hover over them, I wish I could do it here with some unlocked mercenaries, but I don't have any. They all have like buffs, and they all have weaknesses. So you can kind of tailor a way of approaching them or defending yourself against them based on that. So the first bounty hunter that I actually took down had a heart condition, which meant he took more damage from stealth attacks, which is something that you have in this game. You know, your stealth has a DPS rating, as does your warrior damage, which is combat damage, and hunter damage, which is your ranged bow damage. So he took more damage to stealth, so I tried to make sure anytime he showed up or was nearby, I tried to hide and try to stealth attack him to get as much damage down as possible. But he was also level 5, and I was doing this when I was level 3. Now that shouldn't seem like a big deal, right? 2 level difference shouldn't seem like a big deal, right? Well, not exactly. This is probably the biggest problem I have with Odyssey so far. The glaring flaw that I've encountered is the level gaps for certain things in this game, because I mean a lot of RPGs have a level gap, which is totally understandable. There's nothing wrong about that. It's just in this game the level gap creates a massive gap. If you're even 1 or 2 levels off enemies are so much harder to fight. Granted, I am playing on the hardest difficulty, which is Nightmare difficulty, and I'm having a great time doing so. Though, I cannot deny that that difficulty scaling is kind of whack. I am doing so much more damage and taking so much less damage on if I am the same level or a level higher than the person. If I'm even 1 level or 2 levels below them, big difference. Now here's where that it becomes a big flaw. This game has microtransactions, which is important to point out. Similar to the last game, most of them are just cosmetic items that you can probably earn through the game anyway, and if not, they're really stupid, pointless items that have no impact on the gameplay. Here, the game also has XP boosts. Now, I gotta see, I think they're time savers. Yeah, this is, now these are like resource pack. Here we go, XP boosts. I have a serious problem with this because the difficulty scaling in this game is already ridiculous. Almost like needlessly ridiculous. Like a few easy gameplay adjustments would make difficulty scaling a lot better. But here it's kind of ridiculous. The only way to make that less ridiculous, aside from doing everything in the game to match the level that they want you at for certain quests, is to buy an XP boost. With real money, with Helix credits as it's called. That's a problem. That is a problem. And I wish more people were talking about this, but they're not. Because the rest of the game is so damn good and distracting. This is a big problem. To have terrible difficulty scaling, and the only way to correct it was XP boosts. Now, I would be just as willing to believe that the difficulty scaling comes down to a poor judgment on Ubisoft's design part. Though, knowing that these XP boosts are in there, it makes me start to wonder and consider that maybe this was deliberate all along. Maybe this was part of their plan. Skew the difficulty scaling with levels so they make the XP boost seem more favorable. I'm not about that. I think it's kind of stupid. Plus, drachmae boost money, that is so stupid. That is beyond stupid. I think there was a review for this game that said they were willing to spend money on XP boost. They didn't, but in retrospect, they wish they did, which is bad because I should be getting a complete game, $60, right there, right in front of me. This should not be part of the deal, you know? Kind of lame. I mean, yeah, they save time, but you know what's even more rewarding? Playing the game. You know, like we did with Spider-Man and God of War earlier this year, both brilliant games. But I digress. Let's do this quest, and let's do some stealth and combat. So, starting with stealth, it works a lot like Origins, pretty much the same way. You press B to crouch, at least on this controller that I'm using. You got bushes. A nice little indicator that this game has that the other ones really didn't is if you can see right above my adrenaline bar, that's what the gold meters are. You have an eye slash, which means you're not being spotted. Also, before I go any further, let me detect as many enemies as I can with Icaros. You can choose not to do this, of course. Literal eagle vision, which I am loving the eagle. Even though it's a weird idea in addition, even still from Origins, it still works really well. It's very functional to gameplay. Alright, so now we got all these enemies picked out. We're gonna try to sneak past all these dudes. Still undetected. I don't know how we're gonna go about this. We're gonna have to get into some combat. So let me try and get myself somewhere where that won't be immediately necessary. Oh, here's a loot chest. Let me take that. Let me try and assassinate this guy as best as I can. We're not gonna be able to. Unarmed strike. Can I recruit him? Let me try recruiting him. Nope, that didn't work. Alright, so combat. Pretty similar to Origins. You do have like time dodges. Which the other game had dodges. The dodge here is a little bit better. Oh, and I'm dead. Look at that. Wow. Alright, well that's okay. It gives me more time to talk. This game does have a save feature. You have to make manual saves. The game saves pretty often on its own. Though it is a little less forgiving than obviously every other previous game that didn't have saving is. but no combat. It's pretty similar. Animations are all around much better. You still have a light attack and you have a heavy attack, which on the controller is right bumper, right trigger. All right, let's try that again. Literally the same point, which is probably because I got the treasure before. This time we're just gonna stealth attack him to do more damage. There we go. All right, that didn't do as much as I hoped it would, but that's okay. When a character is red like that, it's an unparryable attack. Yes, I said parry. Let me show you parrying. So an enemy's about to attack. This blip pops up. Oh, I didn't do it. Or did I? Okay, so usually a blip will pop up. Let me try doing it. There we go. You hold down left bumper. Oh, shit. And then you press right bumper, your attack button, to deflect it. And I died. All right, that gives me even more time to talk about it. This is nightmare difficulty, folks. This game is hard. Only because I made it so hard. But yeah, it's hard. It's deliberately hard. And then when I held down left bumper there, you probably saw some interesting things. So let me explain that next. In the previous game, holding down left bumper was a shield. In this game, it's a parry a parry kind of status ability, but it brings up your ability wheel, which you can assign different abilities from your skill tree, which you spend using ability points that you get every time you level up. So the first one I have assigned here is Spartan Kick. Pretty fun. That's my favorite ability so far. Really helps it a lot. The second ability I have here is a poison sword ability, which does hella damage. Can help out a shit ton. Look at that. He is taking the hits right now. Please don't kill me and I'm dead. That's okay. So if you notice there, every time I used an ability, the gold bar in the bottom got more and more depleted. That's my adrenaline. In the previous game, adrenaline was sort of something you build up by getting hits. And those hits would let you sort of go into like a rage mode that helped you do crazy damage and you're uninterruptible and all in rage mode. In this game, adrenaline is simply a mana. It's mana, you know, from an MMO. Actually, we're gonna go for other guys first just to make that fight a little bit easier. So yeah, that's how adrenaline works, which I think overall, though rage mode was really fun in Origins, I overall prefer this game's approach to it. And I wonder, can I stealth kill any guys here? Nah, that won't be enough, unfortunately. Well, at least everyone's snoozing. Alright, that dog's also going to be a problem. There's probably no easy way to do this without going into combat, so let's just at least pick off one dude. There we go. Alright, here we go. Let's try this. Alright, Spartan kick the guy. Let's get the poison swords out. We're swinging, and I'm trying to dodge. The hit detection, I think I remember saying this about Origins. Sometimes the hit detection could be a little weird. It's also just as weird here. And when I'm playing on Nightmare difficulty, that can get really frustrating because an enemy will kind of just get a hit on me, like a really big damaging hit, when I was relatively out of the way when they tried to make the hit happen. So that can be kind of unfair. At least it feels unfair. Wow. Oof. Alright, we're going to try to be serious this time. Damn. I hope you guys are enjoying me die 5 times. Nightmare difficulty is no joke. You don't deal that much damage, and you take a lot of damage. But I don't regret it, because every Assassin's Creed game before this has been super duper easy. So let's try and defeat these guys and finish this quest, and we'll call it a video. Shit. You know what? I'm just going to focus on this guy first. Fuck it. There you go. Alright, let me get this out right away. Kick him. And let me try and get him completely killed. Let me try and completely kill him. When you get a perfect dodge, time slows down. Except for you. And you can get some more hits in, and I'm dead again. Woo! Oh man, I am complete horseradish, aren't I? Haha. Well, that kind of sucks. We'll get it eventually. So yeah, there's even more depth to the combat here. Like I said earlier, just like everything in this game, aside from the new features they have, this game is Origins but slightly better, which is very good. Very, very good. All right, get fucking kicked, bro. Here, I got this. Oh god, that dodge. Plenty of boss battles in this game. Enemies are pretty difficult. AI can be just as dumb in stealth. Not like amazingly, incredibly dumb, I'm gonna die from poison damage, aren't I? Let's see. Maybe I can get him before... I'm kind of scared. Because once his other dudes come around, there's no saving me, really. Yep, I knew it. I am determined. We will get this. I am determined. We'll get this. And as an overall conclusion, because usually I get to that point, like halfway through the video, I start to develop a conclusion for the game. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about with this game, so I haven't really had the chance to do that. But basically, Odyssey overall, as I said at the beginning of this video, maybe the most well-designed game in the series. There is a glaring issue in the terms of XP. I am not a fan of that whatsoever. But if you are here to enjoy this big, beautiful, open-world, ancient Greece experience, you're gonna have a good time with it. You won't mind. Maybe you won't even mind 100%ing everything in the world. A little bit of grinding is definitely a problem, just because, you know, you shouldn't have to do that normally. So why would you even begin to do that? You know, because the game has awful difficulty scaling. But in terms of options to play and a full-fledged RPG, this game really offers that. Of course, the guide mode and exploration mode, as I said in the beginning, really help. You get to pick your character gender, for crying out loud. And of course, difficulty is another big factor. So you get lots of choices to play from there alone. In addition to that, you also have many encounters in the game where you get to choose between stealth and action. Lots of enemies. A big, beautiful world. You get ship combat from Black Flag with even more depth. Combat from Origins with even more depth. That's fun and a little bit more fluid. Has a lot of these fun abilities that are just freaking fun to use. Abilities that you can customize. A giant skill tree with a lot of different abilities favoring different skill approaches and play styles. A world filled with secrets and pretty well thought out quests. A dialogue system that actually works fairly well, even if sometimes it's not the most interesting thing, and a story that is so far pretty compelling. Unfortunately, as I said, there's definitely mundane A to B moments, but overall, those moments stick with me less than the moments where the story actually is really, really good in that prologue section, and I'm actually really excited to see where it goes. So folks, if it sounds like I'm describing a really, really good game, that's because this is a really, really good game. A shockingly good game, given that this came out a year after Origins, a big reboot game for the series. This being a continuation reboot of the series, a game that came out after taking a year off from the series because it was so big and needed to readjust its mechanics in such a big fashion, that this game follows it up without missing a beat, really, with missing few beats. So, wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed, and I just kind of think it's unfair because it's an Assassin's Creed game. No one expects an Assassin's Creed game to be this fun, you know, but it really is. And it also has little to do with Assassin's Creed, which some people are kind of upset about that. They really want them to do something like Assassin's Creed 2 and Black Flag and games that really feel more like Assassin's Creed to them. But honestly, I disagree with that. Those games are great, right? Those games are great. They established a cool lore. But for the sake of the series and what they're doing right now, what they're doing really well, and the fun I'm having right now, honestly, do whatever the hell you want with Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft can do whatever they want with this franchise, as long as they place it in a historical setting and make it an RPG, and I am there. I am there. This game's great. It's fantastic. I recommend you go out and play it, though we'll see how that goes over time. I do not recommend you buy any microtransactions or anything like that. But, oh shit, wow. RIP, that just happened. And I do not recommend you buy any of the deluxe or stupid special editions. But buying the base game, go for it. You'll pull through.
You're going to be fine.
You're kind. A terrible liar.
I guess that's a lying option right there.
Should I give your brother?
Tell that fool of a brother
Oh. That was kind of sudden. I think. Also, as well, I should point out, is there any loot over there? No, there's something over here, though. The facial animations are also not the greatest, but they're at times pretty good. Won't deny. You know, there's a shipwreck over here. Let's check this thing out. Why not? There is secrets everywhere. There are question marks in the world that aren't even marked on the map. And there's sharks here, so let's be freaking careful. I could show you guys so much of this game. This game is massive. Absolutely huge. So much to do, and a shark is attacking us. Alright, swim faster. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. If we die to a shark, I would not be disappointed if that was the end of the episode. Oh my god! Jeez. Okay. Alright, watch a shark is gonna attack me here or something. Go to the surface, go to the surface, go to the surface, go to the surface. I'm gonna die. Well, we might not die by shark attack, we died by drowning. Now, come on, shark, come over and eat me and play your fiddle. Alright. Maybe we need to upgrade our breathing ability underwater to survive. Okay. Well, that's marked on the map, so I guess I could just come back to that. But let's finish this quest, and then we'll finish the video. And then we'll call it there. I wonder if I can quick travel back to the island, in fact. Let's see. Where does it want me to go? Go on the ship, I guess? Yeah, let me go on the ship. So now Barnabas is talking about how the blockade is broken. I think other ships did that as a spontaneous world event, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. Here, let's talk.
Did you find my brother? Where is he?
He didn't survive. I'm sorry.
No, no, no! I curse you, gods!
There were no gods on that ship. Only pirates.
I begged him to come on this trip. He hated the sea.
The spear in my hand often helps me forget the pain. We'll put a hammer in yours, if you honor your word.
Of course. There is nothing left for me here.
Alright. Kind of depressing, but he did it. New lieutenant acquired. Let's take a look at the ship menu here. Do I have a slot for him? What does he do? Ship armor. I'm thinking I'm going to stay with aero damage. Just keep that going. Alright folks, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out my other videos I've uploaded prior to. I will be releasing a full review for this game, so stay tuned for that. I also have a couple reviews for some movies coming out soon that I actually got to see an early release. And also I have a review for Shadow of the Tomb Raider coming soon. Lots of reviews that I have to do. Holy shit. And I think I have a video essay for this game planned as well, so that's all in the pipeline. Folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you all later. Peace out.